welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Mngomezulu, also known as Kwazi Bear on all social media platforms. Do subscribe, be a part of this family, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back, darling. Now guys, this has been a really tough week. It's been a really tough week, but you guys do know that I do bring you proceedings in the Senzo Meyiwa trial, and although this week was very short, I am here to do exactly that. But before we get into the proceedings of the week, we do know that the week was cut short this week due to the untimely passing of Advocate Mngomezulu. So before I get into the proceedings, I do just want to share my thoughts during this time, and also just to send my condolences to the family. I was really just struggling to record any sort of video this week. So firstly, I would like to say condolences to the family. This may be delayed for most people, but I really was struggling to record during the week, and Mngomezulu, guys, meant a lot to us as people that really followed this case, and I'm sad that I was unable to attend the funeral. However, I did watch the streaming of the funeral live on either Ghostman's TikTok or on YouTube. So I will put up a bit of a clip here on the screen, just to show you guys some of the things that were happening at the funeral. This video is credited to Africa Report News. Thank you so much, Babesway Media, for streaming this funeral for us that were unable to attend. So Mngo, rest in peace, Dlakadla, Umgo. That's how we called him, we Ghost Nation, Umgo. I pray that God protects your family. I pray that God shields your family during this difficult time. I pray that He is with the children. I pray that He is with your wife during this time. And about to do, it cannot be easy. If it's this hard for us as members of the public that didn't know Mngomezulu that well, I can't imagine how it is for the family. So rest in peace, Lagaj. On Monday, the 9th of December, Mshololo continued with her cross-examination of Brigadier Ginda, and some of the questions that she posed to him were with regards to Constable Zungu, where she does put it to Ginda that the reason why Constable Zungu only gave the statement in May of 2023 is because he did not have this information. It's made up information, basically. Even goes as far as saying Zungu was not scared for his life with regards to the people that came and allegedly tried to shoot him. She says that is because that never happened. Mshololo gets into the statement of Mr. Hlope. Mshololo asks Ginda, he does confirm that that's the information that's on the statement, and Ginda says he's not the author of the statement. But my thing is, Ginda, you're the one that commissioned the statement. Surely you must have confirmed the information with the person you were taking the statement from. Now, in one of Constable Zungu's statements, he does say that he received a call from Buthelezi, and she wanted to find out the information that he had relayed to Umakubo. Now, when cross-examining, Mshololo does question whether Ginda actually investigated when Zungu received this call from Buthelezi to find out whether it was before he had given him information with regards to his father Absalom, or whether it was after. Now, one of the comments that Judge Rata makes with regards to Lishabane and Makubo, as well as Sibiya, is that Sibiya is an officer who is much senior to Warrant Officer Makubo, but he believed Zungu's story, and as well as Lishabane, who is much a senior to Makubo, also believes Zungu's story. So now my thing is, do you believe Zungu's story? Because right now it's just Zungu's word. We haven't had Lishabane coming to confirm that he agreed with Zungu's theory. We haven't had Usbiya to confirm whether he agreed with Zungu's theory. But already the judge is saying because these two people were seniors, they believe Zungu's story. You see, when I say the judge has just this tendency of being unfair, because why are you taking Zungu's word for it? Has it been confirmed by the two people that Zungu is referring to? No, it hasn't. Mshololo then points out that Zungu's story or version of events wasn't only disputed by one person, but it was disputed by two. Therefore, it means that there were two incidents where Zungu was told that this information is incorrect. Another thing that Mshololo points out is the fact that in Zungu's testimony, he clearly says that he spoke to Ginda and there would be a follow-up. Now, Mshololo's question is, what follow-up was to be made? Was it with regards to the information that Zungu had given, or what? And Brigadier Ginda's response is that the follow-up that Zungu was referring to was in connection with bringing his father. Now, another thing Mshololo points out is the fact that Mr. Hlophe had more than two statements that were in the docket. However, when the defense cross-examined Tumelo with regards to Mr. Hlophe's statement, they had to go into docket 375 to find this. Now, one of the questions that arose from this is, what investigations were done with regards to Mr. Hlophe's statement? And Ginda says that they just asked Tumelo and he refuted that evidence and they took it as it was. Tumelo says he didn't receive a call. Mr. Hlophe said he received a call, and Ginda just chose to take Tumelo's word for it. What other investigations did you do? Did you request Section 205 to prove that there was indeed a call that happened? What other investigations did you do, Ginda? Clearly, he did nothing and believed Tumelo's version over Mr. Hlophe. The judge in this instance then asked if Tumelo Madlala did testify, and the response is that yes, Tumelo did testify, and the judge's question was then why wasn't this put to that witness with regards to this? And the defense then says we did approach Tumelo with regards to this, and Baloyi objects and says no, but the statement was taken from 375. This again just shows or proves the fact that that statement for Mr. Hlophe was missing in docket 636, because why else would the defense be cross-examining on a statement that they find in 375 as opposed to a statement that is in 636 if it was available? Another thing that Mshololo touches on Monday is the issue of Senzo Meyiwa's statement as well as Dr. Ivan Khoza. Now, Mshololo does say that this is a hearsay evidence, but she does intend on calling Senzo Meyiwa to take the stand with regards to his statement. And Baloyi then objects and says, well, you know, Dr. Ivan Khoza has already given a statement and he refuses or refuted the information that Senzo had given in his statement. So at this point, all of them must just come take the stand so that we get to the bottom of this. Now, once Mshololo indicated that she was done for the day on Monday, the judge then asks about the presence of Mngomezulu and where he is. And one of the comments that came up is that Mngomezulu was seen in the court's premises on Monday by a source. And when the judge then requested Ashley, which is one of the court orderly, I believe, to take the stand to say that he did see Mngomezulu, Ashley did refuse. The judge then basically says, you know, Ginda, I'm sure you also have your sources, and Ginda does indicate that he also does have his sources, but he doesn't want to offend the defense. On Tuesday, Mshololo continued with her cross-examination and she touched mostly on cell phone evidence by Colonel Steen. Now, with this evidence, she does touch on the issue of the PDF and Word formats and when actually does this change from PDF, where Vodacom has given it to us, where Vodacom has given it to the SAPS, to Word formats. And the explanation that Brigadier Ginda gives is that it is changed by TSU, either by a request from the investigating officer or the request from an analyst. Now, Ginda says when he received the downloads for the cell phones of the people in the house, he asked Mr. Steen or Colonel Steen to authenticate them. Now, Mshololo questions how Steen was able to authenticate them because, one, he was not there when the downloads were done, so he doesn't know who put the downloads into the system of the SAPS and if they were still in their correct form. The second thing is that he didn't have access to the phone to now actually do another download himself to prove that these documents that he has or these downloads that he has are still in line with what the phone has. So he was not in a position to authenticate these downloads. Mshololo continues with the cross-examination on the calls that Kelly Kumalo allegedly received from accused number 5, and she goes back to say Vodacom doesn't have this information, and Ginda basically says, well, all this information is in the downloads, and that is the evidence that Steyn had given. Now, the interesting thing when Mshololo touches on the photos is that she went back to the record where Steyn clearly says that the photo was taken at 17:28 according to the photo, but then you plus 2 hours. Now, this is confusing to me because from the explanation that Brigadier Ginda gives, he says that you can see the sun setting in the background of the photo with accused number 3 and 5. So how was the sun setting in the background at 7:30 at night? Now, Mshololo says regardless of whether it was 17:28, which is according to the phone, or it was 19:28, bottom line is that that picture was taken at George Goch Hostel. As Mshololo was busy with her cross-examination, there was an adjournment that was requested by herself to gather her information with regards to the next session of cross-examination that she was going to go through. They unfortunately never came back from that adjournment as the news of Mngomezulu's passing then filtered through. On Wednesday, the 11th of December, we did have a moment of silence observed for Mngomezulu's passing, and then they touched on the issue of Sbiya. Now, because of Mngomezulu's passing, it is required that Sbiya either finds a new representative or he does represent himself. He does say that he is aware of Mngomezulu's passing. However, he hasn't had the opportunity to speak to his uncle, who was responsible for his payments. He does say that his uncle was struggling a bit with the payments and was complaining. He was then given an opportunity to apply again for legal aid on Wednesday, so there was a break that was taken in order to accommodate that process. A representative from legal aid, Mr. Mchuta, was called to come to the court, and they did have discussions with Sbiya, and one of the things that came up in the discussions is that legal aid is willing to assist Sbiya in an application. However, they did suggest that one of the 4 advocates that have been present in this trial actually take over from Mngomezulu, and that legal aid would be able to pay them. Now, my issue is legal aid was not wanting to pay Mngomezulu. Now that Mngomezulu is gone, now legal aid wants to pay. How does that work? Why were you not wanting to pay Mngomezulu when he was representing Sbiya? To the extent that Sbiya decided to pay Mngomezulu out of his own pocket, to say, but now all of a sudden you're able to pay. How does that work? I don't know. Maybe someone will explain in the comment section down below, but it confuses me how they were unable to pay Mngomezulu and now they're willing to pay whoever will represent accused number 1 going forward. Now, because of the suggestion that was made by legal aid to have one of the 4 of the attorneys represent accused number 1, they did say that they do need time to actually discuss amongst themselves who would be the person that they actually allocate to represent accused number 1, and they do say that they would like a sitting in court on the 8th of January to finalize these discussions, and the judge literally wanted them to make a decision by Friday, and Nesi insisted that they would only be able to make a decision by the 8th of January. The judge then says that he is unavailable on the 8th of January. He will be watching soccer in England or whatever the case might be. And when Nesi comes up with a suggestion that another judge sits in his place just for the formalization of this, then the judge all of a sudden says, oh no, I'll make myself available. Why don't you want another judge to come in and sit through this little smolaniana brief? Judge Rata, you were so busy, and then all of a sudden when another judge needs to be called, then now you want to come sit, you want to come and listen. Anyway, when the judge then speaks to Muzi, the surprising thing about this is that Muzi didn't need interpretation for the whole conversation that was happening in court. But Asiko Lapo, he's not the one that said he doesn't understand English. He clearly understood the conversation that was happening in the court and was able to respond to Judge Rata in saying, you know, if the advocates say they need more time, then the 8th of January it is. The court then adjourned, and we will see you in the new year. On the 8th of January, there will be a sitting where they'll discuss who will now represent accused number 1 going forward, and then we will resume with court on the 20th of January. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I will see you in the new year with proceedings, God willing. Bye.